Off. Hello. It has been a long time, but we're back. We did not get canceled, but I'm glad you were concerned for us. Yeah. We did not get canceled. We just had a stressful 3 weeks. I, until yesterday, had RSV since Full Gear. Some little rat gave me RSV at Full Gear. So whoever you are, you owe me a lot.
You know what's crazy? Every time you go to New Jersey, you get sick.
I do.
Planting it on you there, I swear.
I don't know. Maybe it could be the cold. It could be the New Jersey rats. I don't know. But regardless, I'm healthy now. My lungs are almost clear. I don't have RSV. I had RSV twice, by the way, which apparently is super unfortunate, but I'm fine. Anyway, welcome to Tag Talk. Hell of an intro. My name is Kiley. This is Haley, and we got a lot to catch up on. We've been gone for a long time. We missed a lot.
We really did. And like the past 2 weeks, we've wanted to film so badly, but things just kept coming up. Neither of us have felt good. So we just wanted to take a couple weeks off. But like, there's so much happened that we were like, oh, we just want to film so bad to talk about it and talk about it with you guys.
I know there was a point where I was like completely bedridden and FTR versus the Briscoes happened. I had dragged myself to a wedding because your friends get married, you show up. So I'm at the wedding and it's happening and I can't breathe. I'm like holding on to dear life. And I'm like, all I want to do is get on Tag Talk and talk about FTR versus the Briscoes, which we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. If you want your question or your comment or your dad joke read on the air, make sure to send a super chat and we will read every single one of those. We have a lot to get into and we're probably going to miss some stuff. If you're dying to hear us talk about something, let us know. Jackie, who's one of our close friends, says, hello to you both, lovely ladies. Super chat for the Super GPA. Congrats. Yes.
So proud of you.
In the middle of my battle with RSV, where I was almost dying on the daily, I had finals week and I couldn't get an extension on any of my papers. Well, one professor gave me an extension a couple days. So thank you, Dr. Irwin, for that. But I couldn't get extensions because grades were due like that week. So I soldiered through. I wrote 60 pages in 3 days for 3 different final papers with RSV. And you know what? I got straight A's.
You deserve that 4.0.
I know, I earned it.
You did.
I earned that. And you know what? Tag Talk and all the people who have supported us and everything, you guys sent me a lot of love during that horrible, horrible week of my life. And I'm so thankful for it because that really powered me through. And now here we are, full circle, back to Tag Talk with so much to get through. Like Haley and I were talking and I genuinely... There's like 100 things that have happened.
It really is.
And we're trying our hardest. We're gonna do AEW's Winter is Coming. We're gonna give you John Cena, FTR Briscoes. If there's something we missed, let us know in the chat and we'll try to figure it out. We'll do our absolute best. But in the spirit of my new Christmas sweater, let's start with the Elite versus Death Triangle. Haley, we haven't talked about this, me and you.
We actually haven't. We didn't talk about the match at all.
We didn't. The match and also the stipulations. We haven't really talked about it at all. So I'm dying to know, what are your thoughts on matches 5, 6, and 7? I almost said game because I'm a basketball fan. Match 5, 6, and 7 with all these stipulations and stuff. What do you think?
First of all, I think that you would pop the Bucks for saying that. But I think the stipulations were definitely a necessary thing. It helps it keep it fresh and, it doesn't go stale. But I'm most excited for the no DQ and ladder match. I'm interested to see what we're going to get out of the no DQ match. I think it's a given that the Elite is going to take, I almost said games. Look, now you got me on it. I think that they're going to win matches 5 and 6, and then they're going to tie it up, obviously. And then they might take the last one. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm just super excited. We were talking about this before we went live. We were talking about the ladder match and how exciting it is because the last time that the Bucks and the Lucha Brothers had a ladder match together, it was amazing. It's honestly one of my favorite matches in AEW.
Mhm.
But we also haven't seen Kenny and Pac in this situation in a bit. We haven't really seen them do ladder matches.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I think it really helps the series that they added these stipulations because you could do a lot more story-wise with them. I do like that we didn't finish the series with the Elite doing absolutely nothing about the hammer
Yeah.
and Death Triangle constantly using this hammer to win. I like that they really added that in, that the Elite are frustrated and that they feel the pressure of this best of seven. Um, and if you know all the basketball little references, down 3-1, how can you ever come back being down 3-1? It's really enjoyable, and you don't need to be a basketball fan to like that, but if you are, it gives you a little bit of spice. uh, I'm really excited, like, for Kenny specifically, because in AEW he did, the barbed wire death match, exploding barbed wire death match. He did the John Moxley unsanctioned match, but he hasn't done anything too crazy. Like Falls Count Anywhere, Kenny Omega, that's going to be incredible. Not just because of DDT, but if you're a fan of Kenny Omega like me, you know that he has an infamous Falls Count Anywhere match that took place in a lake cabin. I'll find that on YouTube probably somewhere, and I'll put it on my Twitter if anyone's interested in seeing it. But I also liked in this match the Nick Jackson broken ankle thing. I really thought that was creative, and everyone always says the Young Bucks can't act.
I was just about to say they
Matt
can't tell
Jackson is the
stories.
worst actor in the
He
world.
sold that, okay? He really sold that.
And you know what? So did Matt Jackson. Is not a bad actor. All of you believed it. My timeline was full of people being like, "Oh no, not Nick. What are they going to do about poor Nick?" And it was because Matt Jackson sold it. So you know what? Let's put the Young Bucks can't act, the Young Bucks are bad storytellers narrative to bed, because clearly they're good.
Well, and at first I was like, maybe. But then when they kept drawing attention to it on commentary and like the camera cuts and stuff, I was like, okay, I mean, it's a work, but it's okay, you know? I love a good work.
Yeah. I knew it was a work when they showed Brandon Cutler spraying it with the cold spray instead of Doc Samson. I was like, okay, like, I get it.
But you
we
brought
have
up a good point too, and I just want to
okay.
mention this before we continue. Talking about like Kenny in these type of situations. I did a little bit of research before this
Smart
episode, which is
girl.
not something I normally do. But I just wanted to note that between the Bucks, Kenny, and Pac, they have 7 total DQ matches between, or no DQ matches between them, and this is the Lucha Brothers first. So I think that that's really cool.
I love that.
I wanted to highlight that.
I think you're gonna love this super chat. Super chat from Paula. With all the Ibushi teases lately, if Kenny moonsaults off a balcony during the Falls Count Anywhere match, I will lose my mind. I will lose my mind.
From his return, like, we've gotten so many Ibushi teases, and I do think that we're gonna see him in AEW soon. But I would die. I think Kiley and I would be DOA. Like,
that would honestly listen. In the Kenny versus Hangman match, where Hangman won the title, the Omega Okada sort of illusions that happened in there, that almost killed me. Omega Okada is like my favorite wrestling rivalry ever. Like, I have so much invested in that, and Ibushi is such a big part of that whole big story of Omega sort of rising to the top. His ambition kills his love, all this stuff. But Ibushi and AEW would be super interesting. Because of Omega Ibushi, of course, but how will Ibushi contend with Hangman Page, who has sort of taken that spot and lost that spot and wants that spot back, maybe wants to be part of the Elite again? There's so much they can do with that. And I hope, Ibushi, he's saying all these things like he wants to start his own promotion. He wants to, better the world in his own way, whatever. But I don't think, I'm not Ibushi, so I can't speak for him. But like, if I was Ibushi, I don't think I could pass it up. being part of a story like that with the Elite. I think he's such an integral part of, Kenny Omega's career, but also the Young Bucks. And the Golden Elite, in my opinion, never got that sort of that storied ending. Like, I feel like there's still a lot of loose ends. There's no resolution to that because at All In, and then it was AEW, and then Ibushi's not coming to AEW. So I'm into it. And I think Kenny Omega, way back when, like before he went on his injury hiatus, recognizing the Ibushi sign, the what would Ibushi think sign. I think there's, maybe been an interest in bringing Ibushi into this larger story for a long time. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, I think that it would be nuts to assume that they wouldn't try to do everything that they could to bring Ibushi in. And like you said, they do have a lot of loose ends to tie up, not with just Kenny, but also the Golden Elite. It's one of my favorite storylines in wrestling. So I do think before, we say it all the time, but they're only getting older and, they're on their way to retirement soon. So I feel like that's one thing that really needs a resolution.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't even care if Ibushi can't wrestle. If he's like too beat up to wrestle, whatever, just show up.
Period.
Just be the new Brandon Cutler. I don't care.
Oh, period.
It's just him being there. Like Kota Ibushi is like, I don't know. Like if there's no Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega, there's no AEW. Mm-hmm. So that's just what I'm excited for. But AEW Winter's coming. We also had something interesting. If you're done talking about the Elite, okay. House of Black being back and being dominant and being scary. I'm so into this for like a few reasons. One, I love seeing Julia Hart have a bigger role in the faction and not just be like the token girl. She's doing the Mist, which previously Malachi Black had only done. She's, being part, a big player in like the outcome of matches. She's like clearly involved in the story, all this stuff. So I was super into that. And I also really, really like the fact that the House of Black is being brought back and they're not being put into a big story with like, Death Triangle's not available, but like Best Friend or like, and they're really establishing them. They're starting from the ground up. They're building back. And I'm so grateful for that because I think House of Black, I think AEW fans really do know a lot that has happened. I think they understand that Malachi was gone, that Buddy was gone. And I think this is definitely them sort of drawing a line and saying this is a new era of the House of Black. And I really appreciate that. I think it'll be really good for stories. And I do think we're moving into House of Black versus presumably the Elite for the trios titles. So into it.
I agree. I said when they eventually came back that I would love to see them kind of reinvent themselves and come back as a dominant force. And I love that we're seeing that, like you said, Julia having a more prominent role. I would still love to see her as the leader of the House of Black. And I think as time goes on, like we're seeing stuff that may, lead to something like that down the line. I don't know. I'm just super excited. I love the House of Black. And I think that they're going to have a breakout year in 2023. I'm excited for them. Yeah. And I think we may see them at Revolution with the Elite, but that's just me. That's what I've always thought.
I think so. It's going to be really interesting because Revolution is in like the first week of March. So we have January and February. And January is like, I said this on Day After Dynamite, but January is basically a write-off for AEW. Like, with Wrestle Kingdom and, the women's division being based around this surprise for this tag match, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then like Wrestle Kingdom Night 2, like are people going to that? Like, it's just so weird for AEW, but January is going to be super fun just because I think New Japan is going to have to cough up some talent for AEW to make up for Kenny Omega and FTR and whoever else being gone. But February will be really interesting. I'm worried, not like in a serious way, but I would like to see building up to a trios match. I would like to see Kenny versus Malachi, Kenny versus Buddy. Either before or after, I don't know, but I don't want it to be like one trios match and then we're done and we're moving on to something else. I would like to see this be like a more nuanced story and nuanced feud. And also, I think Kenny versus Malachi, Kenny versus Buddy, like I think these are dream matches. And I don't think AEW is in a position really to deny fans Kenny Omega dream matches at this point after he was gone for so long. So I don't know how they'll do it. Like I trust the people involved, especially people like the Elite and people like Malachi, making this happen and making it make sense for us to get singles matches going into it. Nick Jackson versus Brody King, that would be great.
Nick and Buddy, I want that match so bad.
Listen, there's so many great matches, and like Matt Jackson hasn't had that many singles matches. He's not like Nick Jackson. Every time he's in a singles match, I feel like people expect 5 stars. Like he's definitely the one that people are like, he could be a single star. He's like the Jeff Hardy of the group. But Matt Jackson, much like Matt Hardy, like you can't underestimate him. And I think that would be really interesting. Matt Jackson versus Malachi. Matt Jackson versus...
We haven't gotten a ton of Matt Jackson singles matches in AEW. Maybe one.
Yeah, he had one. He was like in the pandemic era. He wrestled I think he wrestled Ray Phoenix. So way back when, whenever that was. I don't even remember. But he's never been the singles guy. Like Nick had the Phoenix match. He's had a couple others since then. So whatever they do with the House of Black, I trust the players involved that it'll be great, and we won't get a repeat of the Death Triangle disaster feud that happened. The matches were great. I think that definitely hurt the House of Black, though, in the end. Maybe that's just my opinion, though.
No, I agree.
So, oh, sorry, did I cut you off?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was agreeing with you.
No, but okay, no, whatever. Moving on.
I thought I was going to say more. It's okay.
I did think you were going to say more. We have a super chat from our dad. He says, shout out to Kiley for the 4.0 GPA and to Haley for her book contributions. Keep killing it. Also, give me Kenny versus Buddy, and I will be happy. Kenny versus Buddy, battle of the MMA strikes.
I mean, he is getting reps in on Dark and stuff, obviously, for Wrestle Kingdom and stuff. But hey, maybe, you know.
Let's talk about Wrestle Kingdom for a second. Just because I feel like we're always AEW girlies, I've been falling back into the New Japan grind of things coming into Wrestle Kingdom. I didn't expect New Japan to recover this quickly from the pandemic, but they have, at least in my opinion, creatively, they've recovered. There's a lot of cool stuff happening in New Japan right now. FTR, you know, this kind of brings everything together. FTR, you know, not being Ring of Honor champions anymore. I wonder if FTR is losing in the Dome.
I don't want to say, well,
because New Japan has really, really been working hard. You know what I mean?
I would hate to see that, but at the same time, I do think that things are winding down for FTR. I don't know. I would hate to see that, though. I'd love to see them win in the Dome.
I mean, and maybe someone who's like more versed in New Japan can let me know, but are New Japan fans like invested in FTR? Like, are New Japan fans like, do they like FTR? Do they despise FTR?
I feel like it's a middle ground. You know, I feel like that's what I've mostly seen online anyway.
Well, yeah, and like New Japan has invested a lot in Goto and Yoshihashi, who are facing FTR in the Dome. And that's why I think FTR could lose, because New Japan is really behind these two. Aussie Open not being there is a little weird, in my opinion. I don't know, like, what the deal is there. I don't know. I mean, I love Aussie Open versus the Young Bucks. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to that. It's a little weird, though. That is, after FTR, you know, they're in New Japan. They're defending their titles. They get confronted after the match in the presser by Aussie Open. I don't know. It's weird. But I'll trust the process. You
gotta wait it out, Kiley.
Yeah, I gotta wait it out. Like, I just clearly don't know what's going on. But anyway, I'll give you the option, Haley. Should we talk FTR Briscoes, or should we stick with AEW and go with our mystery partner, Britt Baker Soraya deal.
I think we continue on the FTR train.
Okay,
We've
FTR.
got a couple things to talk about with them.
I know FTR. Like I was saying this on Twitter a few days ago. I'm making my like matches of the year list. There's so much FTR on there, and of course I'm biased. I'm a big FTR fan, so of course. But hell of a year for them. And FTR versus Briscoes III. That match
Easily
was
their best match of the trio.
the of the series, and in my opinion, maybe at least in the top 3 best tag matches in Ring of Honor history.
And I would even put it up there for me in like modern history of tag team wrestling. I mean, it was amazing. I love that match.
It was bloody, it was violent, and it was like everything you'd expect in a dog collar match, but the story was there. And that's like I think a lot of times in these matches with these really severe stipulations like this, I think it's easy just to let that overshadow the story of it all. But the story was there. FTR like losing their legacy against this team who by now knows them so well and is so upset that they have lost all these matches. It was really incredible stuff. I loved it. FTR, doing more stuff in AEW now, like they're wrestling the Guns this week, which I have thoughts and feelings on. But I don't know. I'm worried FTR is going to be done with New Japan at the Dome, and I don't want to see that because there's like dream matches there, whatever. If FTR is going to like make a run for the AEW tag titles, I'm not opposed to it because AEW does love to have, talent wrestlers tag teams like lose a title attempt and then like months down the line they win. They basically everyone has done it. But I don't know. I want to know what you think about that. About FTR in general, but also FTR and AEW.
Well, I wanted to say I feel like people are so quick to kind of count out FTR sometimes, especially in situations like the dog collar match. You know how the internet can be. But they really gave a lot in that match. And I know we've talked about it before. Like, we made jokes about seeing FTR do like death matches in GCW and stuff, like how cool we think that would be, because it's so different from what we're used to seeing with them. They're so traditional in their wrestling style and so old school. So seeing them kind of bloodied and battered and really just hard hitting was something really cool. And it's my favorite match of the series, like I said. And I just loved it. As for FTR and AEW, I do think with them winding down and losing titles, I do think that it's going to come full circle. And I would love to see them win the tag team championships next, especially if it's off the Acclaimed. I think that the Acclaimed are so over with the fans now that like them losing a title isn't a big deal. I mean, they're the Acclaimed. Like they don't need titles. They're just the Acclaimed. So I think I wouldn't be opposed to that.
And I think it would be a cool story to see them lose the IWGP titles, the AAA titles, and then win the big one, the AEW titles. I think that would be a really cool story, and I think they could tell it in like an interesting way. Mm-hmm. I don't like what the Acclaimed are doing now. The Jeff Jarrett and his squad are the bane of my existence, and they have their fans. I'll give them that.
Oh, yeah.
Die-hard fans too, like bloodthirsty,
and like good for them,
like yeah, period. But I don't like that the Acclaimed are now going to be stuck there, and I hope it's like a one and done, that it's like just a little bit and then we're done.
Please don't give us another BCCJS like long drawn out thing. Please don't.
But I do love the idea. Okay, FTR wrestling the Guns and being in like the periphery of the tag champs, that gives me a little bit of hope that we're still holding on to that. And maybe we'll see a Billy Gunn turn on the Acclaimed, rejoin his sons, and then that will lead us into the story, maybe into Revolution or a TV special or something. That's what I'm hoping for. I hope that this Jeff Jarrett thing is just something to keep them busy and give Max Caster lots and lots of mic time. That's what I'm hoping for. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to be very upset.
No, I think that that's valid, and I think that if you do run that match, I feel like you have to do it at a pay-per-view. Like, that's such a pay-per-view level match, and I would love to
Mhm.
see that at Revolution. I think it would sell a lot of tickets too. Um, I don't know. As for the guns, I can't help but feel like this is my fault because a couple episodes ago, when you asked me who I thought in the tag division was gonna like take over next year, and you thought I was gonna say Private Party, and yes, I do think that Private Party's gonna have a good year, or like Top Flight, and I said the Guns, and you were so shook, and people were like, "What the hell?" And now I feel like it's my fault that the Guns are getting a push.
Listen, there's like a secret society of gun club lovers.
They
Like
love the Gun Club, yeah.
Will Washington. He
We love
he
them.
we were the day after Dynamite, we were just chatting. He was like, "Well, what if they're the ones that take the titles off the Acclaim?" And the chat rioted. They were like, "How could you? This is a betrayal." They were like so upset. But like AEW would do it.
Pretty
And
valid.
it would be Billy Gunn turning on the Acclaimed,
Yeah.
which would break my heart because daddy ass. I love that man.
And then what
But
are you gonna do with your Scissor Me Daddy Ass shirt? Burn it?
yeah, what the heck? I just got it.
You did.
It's an old relic. I'm looking at my closet and I'm like in the morning I'm like picking out a shirt, whatever, and it's like CM Punk. CM Punk. And I'm like, oh God. Like every time I wear like something with the Elite or something with CM Punk in public, I'm fully expecting that someone is gonna punch me.
Oh yeah.
Like it still feels so tense in the
Yeah.
wrestling community. And I don't know why. Like I'm over it. I don't know. Maybe I just got over it too fast.
Maybe.
But that I feel like that would permanently fracture the wrestling community. Like you're either pro daddy ass or you're anti daddy ass, but you have to pick a side.
I think it would ruin the IWC forever, possibly.
I think that's
Maybe
why
that's a good
Elon
thing,
would
though.
take down Twitter.
Maybe that's a good thing.
Maybe. I don't know. But FTR, I love them. I'm okay, I'm torn between releasing my FTR biased match of the year list and getting massacred for it. Or I just got an alert that okay, my computer sends me traffic alerts now, and I got an alert that there's construction. Cool.
Oh, I love that.
Or incorporating because the Elite and Death Triangle are going to kill it. But regardless, FTR's had a hell of a year in AEW, in Ring of Honor, in New Japan, on the Indies of all things, in singles matches. I think people forget that this year we had Dax versus Cash in a singles match in the Owen Hart tournament. Okay, that was like a big deal. And moving forward into the Owen Hart tournament next year better be a big deal, and we better get something out of it. If it's Adam Cole and Britt Baker again, I'm gonna lose my mind. But maybe we'll save that for another show. But I genuinely feel angry now thinking
No,
about it.
I know. It, yeah.
But if you want to know our feelings on it, go watch some old shows we've done, and I don't even know where we talked about it. We talked about it somewhere. Go watch that. Go find it.
Yeah.
But
Probably
back
on this
to
channel
FTR.
somewhere.
FTR versus the Guns this week, who are not called the Gun Club anymore. I've
No,
been
they're
told.
just the Guns.
Just the Guns. Well, FTR better win. That's all I'm saying. Period. Sticking with AEW though, because someone asked about it in the chat, and I feel like because we've been gone for so long, we kind of have to address it. Soraya's a mystery partner.
Mm-hmm.
And as time goes on with the news that Mercedes / Sasha Banks is going to be at Wrestle Kingdom, that she's doing stuff in Japan, that she's presumably signing with New Japan on maybe a couple more matches, whatever. I don't know. I used to be like so staunchly like, there's no way. She's going back to WWE. There's no way AEW can afford her. There's no way they can offer her something that WWE can with the 4 Horsewomen and everything. But now I'm like not sure. Like she's definitely on an FTR, like let's build my legacy kind of run. And I don't know. I'm kind of worried. Like if they announce that it's like Thunder Rosa, that, I mean, if it is Thunder Rosa, they have to announce it at this point because everybody is like, it's Mercedes, it's Mercedes.
They have to announce it like this week.
Yeah.
If they do.
Probably before Wrestle Kingdom, just because when she comes out at Wrestle Kingdom, everyone's going to be like, this is confirmation that she's going to be at January 11th AEW. I'm super excited for it though. And I don't know, like Sasha and Soraya being a tag team is like, there's drama there. There's like story and intrigue. So
there is, Soraya talked about it on an episode of Renee's podcast and how she kind of smoothed things over with Sasha, Mercedes, and how they're all good now. But like, there is a lot of history there between them, and I would love to see that. Obviously, it would be great for the AEW women's division having somebody like that in the company. I think it only builds prestige, and they need that. I mean, having Soraya and Mercedes on your roster, that's crazy. Who would have thought that, like 7 years ago?
I know, and like AEW, granted the women's division has a long way to go, and I'm by no means saying this is perfect and ideal.
Yeah.
The women's division has been improving a lot. Shout out Madison Rayne.
Yep.
Shout out Kenny Omega. But this is exactly the kind of thing at like the very start of 2023 that would set the tone for the whole year. And I think this would also lead WWE to really start putting more effort into its women's division, because if we're being honest, the WWE women's division kind of sucks right now. Like it just is what it is. So I'm super excited, and like Sasha in WWE is good. She's always going to be good. You know, look at her match with Bianca. Like she's always going to be good. But there's something special about like seeing Sasha really like test the waters in Japan, test the waters in Mexico, like work with all these people that she hasn't worked with, like learn these styles and everything outside of the WWE system and environment. Something about that really intrigues me, and I would love to see more wrestlers do that. You know, sort of step out, shed the WWE lifer like label, and like push themselves in that way, like FTR has, like presumably Mercedes is. I don't know, like I just love that, and I hope in the future as this goes on and on, I would really love WWE to be open to excursions and things like that than they are now.
I agree. And I think that that's obviously the appeal with AEW. They have a more lax schedule. There's more opportunities for other bookings in other companies and collaborating with other companies and the indies and everything like that. So I definitely think we're going to continue to see more of that. I did want to say a couple weeks ago, I went to a convention and they had a bunch of women from AEW there, and they were all talking about how Brit and Ruby, namely, were talking about how they would love to see, obviously, the women get more time on TV. But I think with people and players like Soraya and Sasha, Mercedes, in AEW, I think that that's going to open up a lot of TV time, especially Mercedes.
Yeah, and I still think, and I say this every time we talk about the AEW women's division, but I think it's important to keep it going. I still think that Soraya versus Brit Standoff, the 5-on-5, I still think we're building to blood and guts or something for the women. I think that would be historic, especially if they did it at Double or Nothing. I think they have enough time to do it. I think they have enough time to figure out a way to, if they could, to sort of finagle Mercedes in there. Which we know, we've seen her in Hell in a Cell. She's very creative in that environment. She's very talented. So I'm super excited about it. And, everyone is now like AEW women's tag titles, AEW women's tag titles. I don't know. I don't think it's happening anytime soon. I would like to see it happen though. But I would love to see a return of the women's tag team championship tournament that we had seen. Like, what was it, 2019? Like the first few weeks of AWTV, that tournament
just disappeared.
Yeah, and just disappeared. I mean, granted it was probably a Brandy Rhodes idea, but I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because I think you could have like Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter win it, and that would be really cool. But you could also have, Sasha Banks and Soraya win it. Maybe I'm just fantasy booking at that point, but I I don't know. I'm just super into AEW right now. I'm sorry, guys. Like I'm just another thing in AEW that I'm super into, which I know that you are super into as well. Hook and Jungle Boy.
Oh,
I
don't know what's gonna come about this, but man, I am so excited to see where it leads. It's so intriguing to me. Man, I don't know.
And see, Hookhausen kind of had like a rough end. Like it just kind of fizzled out, which I didn't think that was a good idea. I would have liked, but now Danhausen doing his evil Danhausen instead of very nice Danhausen, which is fine. But Hook and Jungle Boy as like these two, you know, attractive young men who are like upstart stars. I love to see Jungle Boy doing something that isn't wrestling Luchasaurus.
Yes.
And sort of moving on from Jurassic Express in a meaningful way. And I also love to see that Hook is now being associated with one of the original pillars. Because, next gen pillars really getting the push this year. And they're already getting, the third generation of pillars going. AEW is very good about that. But as a tag team, like I'm super interested in it. And I hope it doesn't turn into a feud situation because I don't want to see either of these guys be the bad guy. I really hope it turns into a situation where, they match them up with like Top Flight and just let them have incredible matches all the time. Like that's all they need. I think with these young tag teams, these young wrestlers, they don't really need these heavily, complex feuds and stories. Like just let them get on screen and wrestle really well.
Especially two stars like that. Like it kind of reminds me of like Kenny and Hangman and their like tag team and their tag title run. Like it kind of gives me that energy. Like, you have these two big stars in the company, but they can come together and they can have incredible matches and they can tell a great story. Obviously, we know how that led, but I digress. I don't know. I'm excited, and anything with the younger talent, I'm immediately intrigued by. So
Yeah, Corey said I'm still buzzing about Action Andretti. I feel like 20 years from now, people will talk about when they're, reminiscing on Chris Jericho's career. That's like a big highlight people will bring up. Like that was a class thing for him to do.
Yep.
And I also think Action Andretti as like the third generation of pillars. I think he's in that group 100%. That you could stick him with Hook and Jungle Boy for funsies. Like just
isn't it crazy? I don't remember where I read it, but that was supposed to be like Jungle Boy's spot, and then like that's crazy.
It was supposed to happen, and then the pandemic happened, and Chris Jericho was like, he's not going to get his pop that he needs, so like we can't do it. Which now, I think Jungle Boy turned out just fine. I think he's like very well established in AEW. I think he's fine, but I'm just Hook and Jungle Boy is like the vibe is so good. And like I don't understand it. Like
the opposites really do attract because
Hook will never explain why he saved Jungle Boy. He's like he doesn't care enough to explain, and that's the beauty of it. I'm just so excited for it, and then I would love to see because they wrestle so differently. I would love to see like what they come up with if they wrestle as a tag team, for like offense and like what kind of moves are they going to do? What's their finish going to look like? Like I don't know. I'm really into it.
I know. Their styles are, like you said, so different. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they mesh very well together. I don't know. I'm just excited to see where that leads.
Me too. AEW is constantly surprising me nowadays. And just a reminder, guys, if you want your question or your comment to make sure it's read on air, make sure to submit a super chat and we will read all of those. I don't know. AEW is just doing a lot of cool stuff, and I like to see like Eddie Kingston and Ortiz wrestling on Dark as a tag team. That they're really like rebuilding the tag team division after the hit it took this year. I really appreciate that, and I think that, the myth that the trios division like doesn't draw, that people don't like trios, blah blah blah. I think that's been disproven at this point. So I can't wait for 2023 to see if we really do have a strong tag and a strong trios division at the same time. The kind of matchups we can come up with that. I'm really into it. AEW is just doing a lot of really great things. Winter's Coming was so fun.
Yeah, it's the most fun I've had watching a show in a while. Just like a regular normal show, not a pay-per-view.
I know, and it's so weird to me because I'm gonna say something, and people are really gonna hate this, but I'm sorry. It's really weird to me that AEW hit its slump with Kenny Omega gone, and then Kenny Omega returns, and suddenly AEW is good again. And I know that Tony Khan has control of creative and everything, but he has said on numerous occasions that he takes advice from the EVPs, from Jericho, from Danielson, like these experienced guys in the locker room. And I can't help but think that Kenny Omega and the Elite are a very positive force creatively for AEW. And I know that people are going to disagree with that. And I know that that's maybe like not something I should have said.
No. But it's your truth. Speak it.
I'm speaking my truth.
That's it.
I think the more great wrestling minds that Tony Khan has around him, the better he is. And I think when you start taking away stars from Tony Khan, I think his weaknesses really, really shine through. His inability to let go of things, his his weird hyperfixations, which I have ADHD, I get it, where he really loves something for like a month and then he forgets about it for a month and then he loves something else. But I think having like legendary like storytellers like Kenny Omega, like Bryan Danielson, I think that really helps Tony Khan. So that's all I'm saying.
No, I agree. If anybody has anything bad to say, it's our show.
Kenny was gone for a year and the product was still very good. The first half of 2022 was strong. That's true. CM Punk and the Young Bucks were there, Caden.
Yep.
Tony Khan on his own is a great promoter, a great booker. Don't get me wrong. But Tony Khan needs people like the Elite to be the booker that we know of in AEW. That's all I was saying. That's all I'm saying, guys. See, I should have known that Caden would be the one to disagree.
Caden's always the one.
He's always the one. Sorry, Caden. We love Caden. We're totally joking. People are watching this are going to be like, wow, look at these bullies. We're totally joking. But yeah, that was our AEW review. Now, let's talk about WWE because
not something we normally talk about. We have our moments, though.
We do have our moments. We have our WWE moments, and that's true. But when John Cena shows up in WWE, I'm gonna talk about it because the WWE tag division, I've hated it for like years. It is what it is. I don't like this Judgment Day stuff. I don't like the AJ Styles Bullet Club knockoff. I don't like that. The Bloodline's cool. Not a fan of them having every belt in the world though. Like, but John Cena. Caden says, "Are we going to Tampa SmackDown?" Of course, I'm going to Tampa SmackDown. You think I'm gonna miss John Cena in Tampa, Caden?
I mean, she's also tweeted multiple times that she has tickets.
Yeah, I tweeted multiple times that I'm going, Caden. So get read my Twitter
attention, Caden.
Gosh, Caden. But anyway, back to WWE and not Caden roasting. I mean, I don't really know why John Cena's in the spot.
I mean, he's John Cena. We need an explanation?
I mean, we don't really need an explanation. I would like one though. But anyway, John Cena and Kevin Owens which is a weird tag team, a weird little matchup because it was Kevin Owens who made that big splash on the main roster by beating John Cena. But it's okay. And the Bloodline. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it is kind of a weird tag team, but I think that's what intrigues me about it. I think it's a great rub for Kevin as well. Not that he needs it, but I mean, being paired with somebody like John Cena, I mean, that's a win in itself. But I do think that we're starting to see kind of the downfall of the Bloodline, and I think that possibly in this match, depending on the finish, I think we're going to start to see those seeds start to.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting going into the Royal Rumble because, there's the rumored Cody return, but now there's reports that they want to pick up again with Cody Seth Rollins, which if that's the case, like, Cody doesn't need to win the Rumble to wrestle Seth Rollins. So, like, is The Rock really winning the Royal Rumble? Are they really gonna do like I'm so against it.
I mean, listen, I love The Rock, but I'm just gonna say Black Adam was kind of a flop, and maybe that opens the schedule up now, so maybe we will see him.
Don't even get me started on the collapse of DC, the absolute massacre of DC.
That's a whole other show.
Maybe he did it on purpose. He's like, I'm going back to WWE, like, and then I'm gonna ruin Superman.
He sabotaged Henry Cavill Superman as well. He's like, actually, like, I'm just gonna take everybody down with me.
Is it gonna be The Rock versus Henry Cavill at WrestleMania?
I would love that.
Oh my! Someone called
Triple H. Superman. Period.
That's your celebrity match.
Yep.
The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Who needs it? Who needs it? I'm not against The Rock versus Roman Reigns because I think the story is there. But then again, the story's there. He doesn't need the Rumble. So like this match, this John Cena match, as weird as it is because John Cena's there, I think it's really going to set the tone for Sami Ko. Is that reunion going to happen? Are they wrestling the Usos at WrestleMania? And going into the Rumble, is it going to be Cody? Is it going to be The Rock? Is it going to be Sami Zayn? I don't know. But I think like this is really where, for whatever reason, John Cena's there. This match is really going to be like the turning point for WWE. And I think this is a really big test for Triple H and his booking abilities because I've always been critical of Triple H. I know. I'm sorry, guys. You're probably tired of hearing it. But he's not doing his greatest right now. So like how he handles the collapse of the bloodline, which he inherited and he did not create. And Paul Heyman's there, so of course it's going to be excellent. How he handles this is really going to, set the tone for his run, his career, whatever. Assuming Vince McMahon doesn't
on the line with the bloodline story right now.
I'm so scared for the bloodline story. Like I'm so scared someone's going to drop the ball, and this is going to be, typical WWE collapse in a horrific way.
You know what? This is how you know who's going to come back. Let me not say that.
Are you talking about?
We don't name him here.
Oh, okay, moving on. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay.
Vince.
Oh, I just said Vince like 2 seconds ago.
Did you? I didn't hear you.
Yeah. If Vince McMahon comes back, I'm gonna lose my mind. I will listen. Maybe this is like too personal, but I was literally talking about this in therapy. I was like, Vince McMahon like thinks he's gonna walk in and like take over. My therapist was like, well, he's a narcissist. Like that's what they do. And they don't care about the destruction because they think nothing will happen to them. Like there will be no destruction because they're like God's gift to the earth. And I was like, oh my God.
So true.
So true.
I need to go to your therapist. Anyway.
But back to the bloodline. I don't know. Like, I don't think The Rock needs to be part of the collapse of the bloodline, but like, I think it would be really interesting.
I think what would also be interesting is like doing something with Solo Sikoa and like how he kind of came into NXT and like the whole like elder storyline and like what if he's like working with The Rock? Like what if like The Rock is the elder or like one of the elders?
Maybe. I would love to see a coup. Like to see like the Usos and Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman if he wants to join, and I don't know, like overthrow the tribal chief. I think that would be really interesting. I mean, Roman like going into mainstream Hollywood, it would be a good way to like get him out of like his prominent spot. It's just I don't know, maybe I'm tripped up on the fact that there's like 2 world titles mixed up in a story that also, for whatever reason, includes Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, John Cena, and The Rock, and like probably Cody Rhodes. Like it's like such a weird thing, and like there's so many moving parts. I don't know like what they're gonna do, but we have a super chat. It's a dad joke from Ryan. So we haven't had one in a couple weeks, so let's give Ryan his moment. I'm late, but I'm here. And why does Santa always enter through the chimney?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Because it soots him.
Stop.
Like, soot.
Like, yeah, like, so,
Get
yes,
it?
like fire soot, yes.
I thought that was a good
great,
one.
Ryan.
I'm sorry. Thank you for the super chat, Ryan.
A holiday super chat, thanks.
Yeah, holiday super chat. Like, I have a Christmas tree. Haley has a Christmas tree. Like, we're celebrating here. We're talking about, like, thank you for joining us, Ryan. We're talking about the bloodline and, like, the weirdness of it all and how, like, the collapse of the bloodline is, like, we have no idea where this is going. I would love to see Sami be the one to take the titles, but, like, if they have The Rock, WWE can't turn down The Rock. As unfortunate as it is.
I wonder if they get The Rock back, though. Like, how much time is he gonna dedicate to WWE? You know, like, is it a one-off? Is it like, you know, like a couple appearances? Like, what are we gonna get? You know,
I don't know because, like, The Rock can't win the titles. You can't put the title on The Rock. You just can't do it. Like, there's no way.
oh.
So, like, he wins the Rumble, and then, like, once a month he does, like, his, like, Zoom video call calling into Raw. Like, I don't get it.
Remember, like the singing segments and stuff. Like, he just does that just on Zoom.
Just on Zoom.
Yeah,
it's like pixelated. And the audio is so bad.
That's like a jail cell.
And Michael Cole's like on commentary, and he was like, wonderful rendition by The Rock. Like, so good. You know, now I think it's going to happen. But regardless, I don't think you waste your Rumble winner on The Rock. I think you do Rock, Roman one night, and then you could do Roman with someone for the titles, you know, a different night. I would much prefer to see Roman without the titles by WrestleMania, but I think that is such a big moment for someone to beat the Roman for the title at WrestleMania that I think you can't have him ditch the titles now. It's like it's too late. Like, you're already locked in. Like, it just is what it is. Sami Zayna KO versus the Usos, though. I think that's the way to go for WWE at this point for dethroning the Usos. I mean, Ryan, this makes sense. How do you do Rock passing the torch to Roman one night and Roman making someone in a loss the next? And it's weird because they want, you know, to pass the torch to Roman from The Rock, but Roman is like, there's all this stuff he's going to go do Hollywood, whatever. But then, like, the Roman would immediately lose his momentum by getting beat by Cody Rhodes, by Sami Zayn, by whoever it is. But if you did it the opposite and you have Roman lose his titles and go into the match with The Rock on a loss, like, I don't feel like that works either. So but they're too late. They're locked into it. This is just how it has to be. We're just all just going to have to deal with it.
We're just going to have to wait it out.
Wait it out. Wait and see. Especially with the Usos.
Oh gosh.
I love John Cena. I love the return. I love that KO was still mixing it up with the bloodline. I mean, maybe you go into Mania and you have KO and a mystery partner versus the Usos, and then mystery partner Sami Zayn, and like that's how you get him in there. And I think that would be a nice surprise for people. I think it'd be a nice pop. I just don't want to see Sami out of the bloodline at like a random Raw or like a B-level pay-per-view. Like, that the fans love it so much. I feel like you could do that at Mania and it'd be fine.
You could, for sure.
I don't know. WWE, guys. The WWE women's tag division is non-existent. Toxic Attraction got
we don't even need to talk about that.
Toxic Attraction got massacred by Matt Bloom, of all people. The super chat from Hala, not on Twitter, so we'll pester you here. Kiley, love the Kenny historical AI art series. Can we get some for Coda someday too, please? Maybe. See, the issue, and Haley knows this, the issue with the AI art, well, there's two issues. One, it takes a long time. And like, I don't know if I have the time. And
it's
two,
also
like,
expensive.
It's expensive, yeah. To get like good AIR, you really do have to pay for these services. And two, a lot of people take issue with it. And like a lot of the AI art things, not to go off on too much of a tangent, they draw from existing artists, like people artists. And there are some AI art things that don't, but the issue is the ones that don't are very expensive. So maybe I'll do Coda like when I have the time, when I have the money, and like when I can make sure I'm not stealing from other artists to do that. But thank you that you love the Kenny Historical AI art series. Haley and I absolutely loved that. We shared so many in our group chat that I was like, maybe I'll just post some for funsies. And a lot of people loved it, so I'm glad you guys loved it. And if you're not on Twitter, that's fine. I'm probably not going to be on Twitter for too much.
It went under anyway. It doesn't matter anymore.
Twitter is it's Twitter. It is what it is. But wrapping up WWE. I mean, I know I don't want to talk about Mandy Rose, but WWE Women's Tag Division in the mud. Damage Control. What are we doing? Toxic Attraction. What are we doing? Maybe someone knows. Maybe someone can give me answers. Maybe Matt Bloom will come into this chat and be like, "Here are the keys to the universe," and then I'll promptly. I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but anyway. Oh, WWE. I feel like this is every week. We're like WWE.
And it's always like the end of the episode. Like we always plan to end on WWE this week, but like it just kind of happened, and we're like, ugh.
We're always so excited though to jump into AEW stuff that we're like, oh my god, did you see the Elite? And then we get to WWE and we're like, it's day 974 of the Usos as tag champions, and that it just is what it is, guys.
I mean, I am excited for the tag match, though. I think that it's going to be
good. Oh, 100%. I think John Cena. I don't know like what shape he's in nowadays. I don't know. He's doing movies and stuff, but like, is he old and creepy?
Peacemaker.
Yeah, I love Peacemaker. If I'm being honest,
so good.
It's so good. I love the character. I love everything. I don't know. Is he old and creaky? Like, does he have good stunt doubles? And like, that's why I don't know. But I think it'll be fun. I'm gonna be there, and I was planning to be there, but like I hadn't bought tickets, and then they're like, John Cena's gonna be there, and I'm like, oh well, I guess I gotta go now to see John Cena. So I guess I've never
dedicated to the craft.
This is weird. Every WWE show I've been to, John Cena hasn't been there. So this is like, maybe I'm cursed. Maybe I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going, and John Cena's going to like dip. He's going to be like, actually, no, KO. Can't wrestle with you. Goodbye. Maybe. I don't know. Regardless, I think it'd be really cool. Cena and KO mixing it up with the bloodline. It'd be fun. That's my final thought on that.
It's a good final thought. I have no final thoughts this week. I have no thoughts in this brain. I've spewed all of them out into this episode.
We did a good job condensing it under an hour. Like we got to recap weeks of stuff, but we did a really good job. And I don't think we missed anything too major. So shout out to us, Haley. We did good.
I'm proud of us.
Do you want to do your plugs? Plug all your things?
Yeah, okay. So you guys can follow me on Twitter for however long I have that, at Haley Ann. I'm also on Hive Social. If you guys have that, it's the same at. Instagram, same at. I do wrestling and nerdy things over at Nerds and Beyond. You can read my stuff over there. I also have a Substack where I write about all my favorite things in wrestling called The Wrestling Muse. It's linked on my Twitter. And I'm also taking part of a really fun project. It's been announced for a while, but I don't think I've talked about it on here. A friend of mine, Steven, is working on a recipe book with a bunch of independent wrestlers, and I'm writing the bios for the book. So yeah, he's launching a Kickstarter for it soon, sometime in the new year. I'm sure I'll tweet about it and stuff, so you guys can see that. But if you want to support, he would appreciate that. Everybody involved would really appreciate that, me included. Yeah.
Okay, here's my big plug. You can follow me on Twitter. My Christmas tree's in the way. At Fuller_Kiley. Probably gonna get banned. I don't know. I'm not on team CEO, so whatever. I did have a Hive social, but then I deleted the app. So like I'm gonna get one. But like follow me on Twitter and then I'll post it. I've been trying to find the next social media. I don't know, guys. It is what it is. We're all stuck in this vortex. But I'll make every social media possible. I'll make myself accessible to you. Tag Talk is live every Monday at 3. Like I said, we missed the last couple weeks. I was very, very sick. But thank you for showing up on this wonderful day, this chaotic episode where I feel like we were all over the place, but you guys really stuck it out with us, and I appreciate it. Make sure to like this video. If you're watching this after we go live, make sure to comment below. We still want to hear your thoughts on all this stuff and maybe stuff we didn't talk about. Just leave your thoughts. Subscribe to Fightful Overbooked. Lots of great content on Fightful Overbooked. Make sure you check that out. Also follow at Romantic Wrestle. That is Romanticized Wrestling. That is me, and that is Haley, and that is our friend Kyle. Me and Kyle have a show about Ring of Honor. Now that I'm not dying, we're probably going to film some stuff about Ring of Honor for that. So make sure you go check that out. I think I hit all the points in the giant plug. Oh, wow, guys. What an episode to be back. I had a great time doing this with you guys. Tag Talk number 25. 25 weeks, over 6 months of Tag Talk. And you guys have really stuck it out with us. And I'm so grateful. All that being said, thank you guys for joining us today. And we'll see you next week.
Oh, and happy holidays, because next week our episode airs the day after Christmas. But
you're right. Happy holidays.
Wonderful holiday season.
Yeah, whatever you're celebrating, if you're not celebrating anything, whatever. I hope you have a great last few days of the year. Shout out to you guys. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. I don't think we'll be dying. Bye.